From the creators who brought you RuPaul's Drag Race and $1 Million Listing, this is World of Wonder's Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Hello, everyone. Happy Valentine's Day.
Oh, my loves, my loves, my loves.
Did you get my roses?
Not yet.
No, that's because I didn't send them. Welcome to this lovely edition of the Wow Report. I'm Fenton Bailey, co-founder of World of Wonder, joined by Tom Campbell, our chief creative officer, and James St. James. And you know, we count down the top 10 things of the week that make us go wow. Randy was here last week, and I heard Blake say it was the best show.
The best show we have ever done. It was fantastic. I don't know how you can top it.
Right, I am on thin ice, so I'm just gonna cut the crap and get on with the countdown of number 10, Tom.
Number 10.
Should I buy a gun?
What?
With everything that's going on in the world, with the fires and the political unrest, everyone keeps saying, buy a gun.
But aren't the libtards going to take your guns from you? Isn't that the thing that we're trying to do?
Well, I won't get an automatic weapon, but do I get a gun to protect my home and
your kitty cats? Your kitty cats.
Yes. I know Justin, who's filling in for Blake this week, who's behind there somewhere. Pop on. Hello, Justin.
Hello.
I saw some videotape of you from a shooting range. Is that correct?
This is correct. I spent the weekend in rural Virginia with seven men on a bachelor party, and there were guns involved.
No.
Do you have a gun, Justin?
I don't. I am inexperienced with guns, but we went into the woods and we had 5 guns between the 7 of us, and the tree stumps have seen better days.
Oh, well, I was going to say, what were you shooting? But you just tree stumps.
Tree stumps and cans. The power is it's intoxicating and terrifying.
Yes. I've not shot a gun. The closest I came to having a gun in my hand was during the LA riots. I was at my friend Carolyn Strauss's house, and everybody was like closing off the roads and putting their cars up in the Hollywood Hills so no one could get up. It was right behind the Mann's Chinese Theater, and it was a true terror at the time. And some guy with no shirt at 4 p.m, silk boxer sticking up from his jeans, came to us with a knife on his belt and a gun in his hand. He goes, "Does your house want a gun?" And I didn't take it, but I in my mind, I felt the weight of the gun. And because we were all single and there was no old people, I was like in this Peter Pan fantasy of like, well, if people break into the house, we can jump out the back balcony and skip her down the hill. So it was like, we did not get a gun. But I'm curious, Fenton, where are you on is it time to get a gun?
At boarding school back last century, we had to join one of the armed forces, and do it like once a week in the and I was in the army, and I was actually quite a good shot and would go to the shooting range every week, and the marksman, the targets, that's it. That was sort of basically Nazi German soldiers printed on paper, and you'd shoot them. And the shooting master, the Corporal Snuffield Jones or something, he used to come and lie down on top of me to steady my shot. And
leave it to Fenton to make guns gay.
Super gay.
Now, but here's the thing. First of all, I don't trust either of you Nelly Queens with a gun. I just don't. I don't want you prancing around your homes with guns.
And you're separating Justin from that Nelly Queen, right? Just being Fenton.
We've just done that. But I don't trust either of you. I really don't. I don't trust guns in the house with kittens and kids. I just don't.
I've said this before. My sister said to me as an adult, I hope I'm not saying too much. She said, "I'm glad we did not have a gun growing up because you and David would be dead. Like my brother and I would be dead because we were so mean to her." You know, it's like
now, but the thing is, I have shot guns too, Fenton. I've gone to gun ranges with my dad. I can't remember, my brother. I don't know. And I would go hunting with my dad too. He would always drag me out hunting, and I hated it. Oh God, sitting in those deer blinds in the cold, and I was just like, I'd rather be home with my Vogue and my comic books. You know, I hated it. But I think that if the uprising comes, or if the zombie apocalypse comes, we're all dead. None of us are going to make it through. I don't know what.
Let me jump in because I have the question. It's like, okay, gun ranges. So that's a cute story. That's fun. With a bachelor party, ooh, boom, boom, it's like a roller coaster. When the apocalypse comes, when they come to loot your house because you have water and they don't, like, how many people do I have to shoot? Is it?
Yes, you aren't going to. You're going to get 2 of them. You're going to hit Kitty Cat by mistake. You're going to shoot an urn and shatter it, and then you're going to run screaming down the hill.
You're thinking of that episode of The Golden Girls where Blanche gets a gun. That's where the shooting of the urn. But the thing about if you got a gun and you got to shoot someone, you got to shoot to kill. There's no good injuring them. You have to
Right,
shoot.
but then how many people do I have to kill if there's a
exactly? You get 1,
guys,
and then 5 others are going to come and get you. I mean, there's none of us have what it takes to make it through the apocalypse. None of us have what it
is a machine gun, and I don't believe in those. And
do we really want to live like that?
No, we don't want to
I think
die.
the answer is no, but it creeps into my consciousness more than it ever has. That's all I'm saying. It's a confession.
Look, if someone breaks into my apartment, I have a sword and a stick and a little tiny sticky knife. So that I don't need anything else.
On guard.
If someone breaks into your apartment, it's going to be like Francis Bacon, right? Where the thief broke in and Francis Bacon was like, "Why don't you come to bed? What are you doing stealing my stuff? Come lie down with me."
Yes, exactly. I see. I've got my sword right here.
Ceremonial sword. I don't think that's capable of killing anyone.
Oh, it'll poke. I can poke him in the eye, poke him in the nuts. I can do something with it.
I don't think you should buy a gun, Tom, but maybe a look-alike gun as a deterrent. How about the deterrent?
Oh, that just makes you like such a target. I think that's just like,
carve it out of soap like they do in prison.
Or maybe do some shooting, go to a gun range and like learn, because there's no point in having a gun if you don't know how to use it, right?
No, I would have to learn how to use it. But just the idea of I just imagine being in my underwear at night, shooting people from my little 2nd-story Juliet balcony in West Hollywood. And it's not pretty. Anyway, thank you for working that out with me. I'll keep you posted.
All right.
My dad did have a gun that he kept at his bedside, and I do remember bringing in all my friends from school and anyone and we'd all go look at and hold the gun and pass it around, and that's not good. That's not good. I don't want your kid. I don't want Elliot to be bringing his school friends over to look at your gun, Fenton.
Right. No, absolutely. And if I did have a bedside gun, it would be under my underwear, and I don't want that either.
Because then the gun would smell.
My underwear drawer is beside my bed. I keep my underwear, and I'd put it under the underwear.
You keep your underwear if you pay your bed?
I'd like a blueprint of your bedroom at some point.
I know.
I want to know how it's laid out. That seems weird.
You need emergency underwear often in the middle of the night, do you?
It's just a drawer where I keep the underwear. I don't know.
It's a drawer where he keeps his drawers. You know what I'm saying?
Drawers.
I've always got my socks are in another drawer. It doesn't seem so bizarre.
Right by your bed. That's the part that throws us, just so you know.
What if I'm naked? Anyway, okay. Number 9, James.
Number 9.
Was Elizabeth I a man?
Bum, bum, bum.
Bum, bum, bum. The Daily Mail, which is a Rupert Murdoch-owned right-wing rag, spends most of its time writing puff pieces about Trump, but sometimes they have time to do anti-trans and anti-drag hit pieces. Right. And so what better time than right now than to bring up a 200-year-old rumor that is gaining some traction again amongst right-wingers? Was Elizabeth I the Virgin Queen who ruled from 1558 to 1605, was she really a man? And the rumor goes as such that when she was 10 years old, she became deathly ill, and they tried everything to save her. Leeches, they bled her, they bonked her on the head, they did whatever they could during those days, but she did not survive. And the 2 people who took care of her governess named Lady Cat Ashley and her guardian Thomas Carrie were terrified to tell King Henry VIII that his daughter had died because they thought that they would be killed for not doing their duty, for being derelict in their duty, for saving her. So what they did was they went to the town to try and find a girl that they could disguise as little Princess Elizabeth. And before they could, they found this boy, Neville Blissix, I think is his name, Neville Blissix. And he had been a friend of the young princesses, and he'd gone to school with her. He was a pupil in the royal school or whatever. So he knew her, and he knew her mannerisms. And they thought, well, let's dress him up. He was a shy, awkward little boy, sort of, a little skinny little boy, whatever. So they dressed him up as Princess Elizabeth, and it worked. Henry VIII hadn't spent any time with his daughter. He didn't know her that well. He was away most of the time. And so they paraded him in court. They paraded this young boy in court, and it worked. And so from that point on, Neville Bisley became Princess Elizabeth. And that explains why she never married, why she remained a virgin, and why she was so damn ugly, because she grew up to be this man. And
she also smeared white lead on her face.
She did, well,
right?
because of the pockmarks and things from this illness, apparently. So yeah,
that she didn't really have if she'd been replaced. But go on.
Yeah, but
she had a beard. The replacement would have a beard. See,
exactly. Yeah. So, but she was an ugly, ugly woman by all accounts, and she always said, I have the heart of a man. I might look like a woman, but I am in my heart beats a king's heart or something, whatever. So she gave a little hill. But anyway, so this rumor started gaining traction in the 1800s, 200 years later, with who else? Bram Stoker wrote a book about famous imposters, and there was a chapter in it called "The Legend of the Bisley Boy."
And this is all in the Daily Mail. It's astonishing. They have actual information.
It's true. It's true. It was very interesting. For once, the Daily Mail was kind of interesting. But so Bram Stoker is the big proponent of this legend, and so now Rupert Murdoch is running with it, saying, damn drag queens all through history causing trouble, blah blah blah.
Well, the MAGA people, I guess the argument is then if he wasn't legitimately queen, then the entire succession of the royal family is illegitimate, and therefore America needs to, in addition to Greenland and Panama and Canada, take over the UK, right?
I think you're one step ahead of Trump on this one.
One of my favorite expressions is a lie travels around the world before the truth has a chance to put on its pants.
Yes.
So, and I am a proponent, I used to be anyway, if a rumor is good enough, spread it, just because it's a good storytelling.
That's me too, yes.
And this feels like one of those, what's the French word? Bullshit to me.
Merd.
James St. James has never met a conspiracy theory he didn't like. All right. Well, more to be revealed in that space. Perhaps not. I doubt it. Number 8.
Number 8.
Hot documentary at Sundance this year. Predators. Predators is the documentary story all about, do you remember the show To Catch a Predator?
Yes, I never watched it, but yes.
Oh my gosh, it was on air from 2000.
Name Chris what?
Chris Hansen.
Yes.
On the air from 2004 to 2007. And the format of the show was they would have people, decoys, pretending to be young.
So illegal. Entrapment.
Calling people, engaging with supposed pedophiles and predators, luring them round to the "you've been framed" type house, which was rigged with cameras for an assignation, and they would be, interacting and like, take off your clothes, get comfortable, and then Chris Hansen would emerge from a room or spring out and say, take a seat, and proceed to read from his paper all the texts or exchanges and messages and confront the predator, and then would say, you're free to leave. They would get up to go, exit the property, and be swarmed and jumped on by the police.
Well, yeah, how do you feel about that, first of all?
Yeah, I mean, I do think the the righteous, hysterical fury about child molesters was so intense. There was a sense then, and probably still now, that the ends justify the means.
Groomer, pedophile. Yeah, no, we're in a very
It was a righteous crusade. And needless to say, things went wrong when one time in 2006, the decoy was communicating with this person, and this person didn't come round. So the show took the unprecedented step of deciding to go to their house before, right? So, and unfortunately, very tragically, it was an assistant district attorney. They went round to his house, and he shot himself as they entered the house.
Well, but he could have shot them. He could have killed them just as easily. And the problem is yes, get your pedophiles off the streets and your child molesters and all of that. Yeah. But the slippery slope is entrapment. And where do you stop with child molesters? Where do you stop? And at that point, and when do you it's people, your political enemies? When do you go after? I mean, it's such a slippery slope that you can't just go around entrapping people. You just can't. You wait until they commit their crimes, and you don't force someone to commit a crime. You also then have the slippery slope of the thought police. What was the famous science fiction where the robots can tell whether someone or
Minority Report, right? That people.
Yeah, you can tell when someone is going to commit a crime before they commit the crime, and can you arrest someone before they commit the crime just because they have the idea to commit it?
Absolutely, and to say nothing of the fact that the director talks about this. Why is he making the film? Because he feels incredibly uncomfortable about. It doesn't necessarily get to the bottom. Chris Hansen's always like, help me understand, as if it's some sort of intervention, but it isn't really.
No.
It's really about turning someone else's sins or failings or whatever, or perversions into entertainment, into something.
Yeah.
That's the part. I don't need to watch this.
And then what's interesting is the show ended, right? Rightfully so, because of this horrendous incident. And copycats sprang up, and there's been a sort of internet vigilantes, and there are YouTube channels.
Another slippery slope.
A guy called Skeet Hansen stars himself as a predator hunter, and he goes in and doesn't even have the police involved. He just has someone and gives them a police badge, but they're not a police person. And he's like, he says, I'm just a YouTuber. I do it for the clicks and the likes. Why shouldn't I monetize it and make this content for people's entertainment? I mean, it's like, oh my God. So just when you're like, this is too much, Chris Hansen comes back, and he has a YouTube channel, True Blue, because remember when the BLM movement happened, all those cop shows were canceled. Chris Hansen and some other people launched a streaming true crime channel, and they have a show called Takedown, which is basically the same show. And they recently did this to an 18-year-old who was the, inverted commas, predator. And it's that line, that sort of very...
I do want to say, though, that it did give us that wonderful Saturday Night Live sketch of the Chris Hansen. I will never forget how well he did that voice, because that voice is just as camp as Christmas. My God.
Well, I have to say, it is a very thought-provoking and well-made documentary, and the director himself was a victim as a child, as actually Chris Hansen, who appears in the documentary, claims he was also victimized as a child.
Yeah, no. At no point am I advocating on behalf of. Right. I'm just saying that there are better ways to go about getting bad guys than entrapment.
Absolutely. Well, how about this for a segue? Slaycation is a 6-part series.
Speaking of entrapment, 6 queens in the house.
Boa, Jada, Candy Muse, Gary Colby, Lux Noir, Lawrence Cheney, all in a log cabin experience in a Canadian wintry north, and they get up to many hijinks and shenanigans, and it's really fun, and it's on Why Business Plus. So with that, Justin.
Hello. A question. What brand were the bell-bottom jeans that Kendrick Lamar wore during the Super Bowl halftime show, and how much did they cost?
I think I know.
Thank you. Justin is standing in for Blake, and he will have the answer right after the break.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
All right, welcome back to the Wow Report. Fenton here with James and Tom, and ta-da, Justin.
Hello, hello. What brand were the bell-bottom jeans that Kendrick Lamar wore during the Super Bowl halftime show, and how much did they
I'll go first. James thinks he knows, but I really know. It's Old Navy, and they were $19.99.
I actually do know, and it is, I never know the answers to any of these questions.
Hey.
So I feel like James knows the price, I'm pretty sure. So I'm going to say they're Celine.
Ding, ding, ding.
I'm not quite sure of the price. I think I saw 12,000, but I'm not sure.
No, wow.
1,200.
Oh, they're cheap.
Move the decimal
I'll get
points.
three. Again, send me a dozen.
Right.
Yes, and there's a bonus fact. Kendrick stylist Taylor McNeil sourced the jeans for a different celebrity at first. Does anyone know who that celebrity was?
I do. Rihanna.
I'm going to say
Not quite.
A$AP Rocky.
It was Timothy Chalamet.
Oh, doesn't that make all the sense in the world?
Mm-hmm.
Today's Rihanna, I'd like to say.
Our two great style icons, Kendrick Lamar and Timmy Chalamet.
Fantastic. Thank you, Justin.
I think we need to get rid of Blake and just have you come on and do it every week. Get rid of Fenton and bring back Randy, and we got ourselves a show.
All right.
As long as I get to stay, I'm fine. I'm fine with that.
Okay, well, this is my last show. So counting down the top 10, we've reached number 7, Tom.
Number 7.
I watched on Netflix Kinda Pregnant, the new Amy Schumer movie.
Oh.
Number 1 on Netflix. I love Amy Schumer.
Oh,
I
good.
want nothing but for her to succeed.
Yeah.
I love female rom-com. Every year when people ask me what should the Oscar Best Picture be, I always say it should be Bridesmaids. I just think Bridesmaids should win an Oscar every year. For
No
Best
matter
Picture.
what year it is.
Doesn't matter. It's just the best picture that ever was made. But I have to say, with Kinda Pregnant, I was a little disappointed. And again, I just want to be the new person that does not just slam, but the premise, it's the rom-com formulaic movie, which has been done a million times, and we watch them all. But she is a 40-something woman whose best friend that she grew up with, who they always said they would have kids and play with dolls, gets pregnant. And she's kind of jealous that her friend is pregnant. And shopping with her, she goes to some shop where they have one of those empathy bellies. So she kind of shoplifts it and puts it on because she realizes that everywhere her pregnant friend goes, it's like, oh, can we get you a glass of water? You look so beautiful. You're radiant. And poor Amy Schumer has nothing. So she decides with her empathy belly to go to like pregnant yoga, where it's got some funny parts. And one of the things was like, breathe in through your mouth and breathe out through your anus, and everybody farts because it's like, I guess pregnant women fart a lot. So I mean, there's some really great slapsticky things. And then she meets this really cool new best friend there. Very bridesmaids that way, and she just assumes she's who is pregnant. She assumes she's pregnant, and she falls in love with this guy she meets at the coffee store, who just so happens coincidentally to be the brother of the pregnant lady she met and became best friends at the pregnant yoga. So it's this crazy where she's lying to everyone about her pregnancy. Now, this could be funny, I guess, but it's anything you can think to do badly to a fake pregnant belly, they do in this movie. She falls like off a 6-story building and lands on her stomach. You know, it catches fire in the kitchen. A little kid's running around with a knife and stabs her in the stomach.
Oh, no.
Some people like it. It's number 1 on. I hope it gives Amy more movies to make.
Yeah, I like
comedies.
Amy. I do like Amy. And sometimes rom-coms don't need to reinvent the wheel. They just need to give you a few smiles and you're okay.
Yeah. The Cameron Diaz Jamie Foxx movie, I was open to. It was a total ripoff of an 80s movie, but it kept moving. This one slows down a little bit. They also try to get sincere about childbirth at certain times. And they talk about bleeding out, and you know, it's just tonally, I didn't quite know where to land. But so it made me go, wow.
And you kind of liked it, kind of.
I don't want to trash it. I was a little disappointed. I wanted to like it more. There, I said it.
All right, then. That leaves us to number 6.
Number 6.
Number 6, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Blake Lively scandal that is unfolding as we speak.
No idea what is going on.
Okay, Blake Lively did a movie with director co-star Justin Baldoni, I believe is his name, and things went south and the movie did not do well. And Blake has come out and said that Justin was abusive to her on set. And he is countered by saying she is a bitch and she's unprofessional and she's hard to work with, and her husband Ryan Reynolds is an asshole, and da 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 da. So they've been sniping back and forth, and the public, the MAGA public, that we are dealing with right now, is falling on the side of pro Justin, anti Blake Lively, and anti Blake Lively. There is an active smear campaign going on to discredit her. And the thing is, you aren't going to get me to hate Blake Lively. You just aren't. I love her. And when I tend to side with women who say that they were the victims of any sort of abuse, I just tend to believe them. I just do. And the fact of the matter is that I don't care if she's not a nice person, frankly. I love Gossip Girl. I love A Simple Favor, one of my favorite movies the last 20 years, Age of Adeline. I love Ryan Reynolds. I love the Deadpool movies. I love
James. I love you, and you're not a nice person.
Well, that's just it. When you think about if in entertainment industry, most stars are probably assholes. They just are. You have Lucille Ball, who is famously a stern taskmaster on set and sort of a gruff person in real life. You have Joan Crawford, who may or may not have beat her children, but she gave us 40 years of great movies and press and publicity.
The issue, I tried to avoid it because I couldn't even understand what was going on, because it's like this publicist, that publicist, whatever. It's hard to believe that people of such high stature, of such privilege, feel the need to play this out in public, that they couldn't talk to each other, that they couldn't make this happen and off.
It gets anytime there's a smear campaign between stars, it's like, take it behind you. You don't need this.
You don't need this. And this is what sucked me in. Is that TMZ a week or so ago released, because there was one scene in particular where they're dancing and kind of flirting that she had singled out, I believe, as being when he was being egregious and he was being inappropriate. And so he released all of the takes of that scene. And when you watch it, you think, I watched it and I thought, and I'm a white guy, I thought, like, he's not doing anything wrong. He seems to be talking her through a scene. She doesn't need to be angry again. And then people are like, in the comments, both sides, but like, it's happening right in front of your eyes. You don't even see it. And I feel like the world has got to the point. No, but it started with blue dress, gold dress, where everyone would look at one dress and either they saw blue or they saw gold. And now everything that happens, everything that we look for gets split right down in the middle.
And each side is intractable. So let it play out in the courts. I don't need to know about this. And as long as Blake Lively is doing things that I like, I don't care. I don't care what goes on in their private.
She wins because I can remember her name. I can't remember his name. I'm sorry.
Well, but it's the Joan Crawford thing. Do you hate Joan Crawford movies now because she's a bitch? She was abusive to her? No. Like, and we talked about this before, where I had read the book about a monster's dilemma, or, can you like Hemingway? Can you like, Picasso?
I get that, but that's past tense. That's hindsight.
Or Woody Allen or Roman Polanski. Can you watch Roman Polanski movies?
Well,
can you watch Rosemary's Baby? Can you watch?
But there's right, except it doesn't sound like these are the charges are actual assault. They're sort of more nuanced issues around abuse, right?
No, but they're smearing her by saying Ryan Reynolds is an asshole and she's a nasty piece of work. Does that matter to you that she's
that they're a power couple and they're wielding it becomes like a ego thing and a power thing versus where's the truth or where's the
but I'm saying let the truth play out in the courts.
I agree with you.
And we don't, and I don't need to know, as long as I like the person. I don't care about their private life.
And I think the underlying story is also interesting, of the battle for control of the movie, because Justin starred in the movie, right, but was also the director. And supposedly Blake Lively had a lot of issues with some of the scenes or some of the, so I guess it was a sort of pissing match about who was really making, like two people
And he
trying
claimed
to
she never read the book, so she didn't know the character. Like, blah, blah, blah.
Oh my gosh!
Well, the movie was terrible anyway, so I don't know why everybody's trying to salvage it. But
well, this is going to be a great Netflix series, right?
yeah.
Well, Number 5.
Number 5.
Onijah Robinson. She's an African-American lady who wooed a 19-year-old Indian boy, and they were gonna get married.
Yes, I remember.
And she went off to India, to Karachi, to meet her groom, and it was a bit of a shit show because she was accused of having catfished him, in that she used a filter on her camera, allegedly, that portrayed her as a white woman with blonde hair, and she was not that. And instead of being a comely nubile teen, she was like, late 30s. The family of the groom took their son and they all disappeared and abandoned her. And she was stuck in India with a visa that was about to expire and no money. This was at the end of last year in October. She refused to leave. It's like, absolutely, I'm not leaving, and you need to give me land and you need to give me money to the Indian government. And
no, I'm sorry. I'm being told in my ear right now. I have someone in my ear saying that it was Karachi, Pakistan, not India.
You're absolutely right.
I'm
Karachi, Pakistan. I can't start again.
No. But just know that you have been corrected.
Thank you. All right. So she's in Pakistan. Her visa's expiring. She has no money, and she pivots. Instead of being the person who's the victimizer of this young-ish potential groom, she says, I'm not leaving the country till you give me money, you, the government. And she demanded like $2,000 a week. And the people of Pakistan actually were very welcoming. And she started having press conferences. And she then decided that she was going to make Pakistan great again. She was going to reconstruct the country. And when she was denied a room at a hotel, she's like, I'm going to have the place closed down. I'm going to bring in new management. I'm going to have the hotel demolished. I'm going to build a new hotel.
I sort of like her balls. She seems very, yeah.
Yeah. I think
is the show Bridezilla still on? Because she'd be great, Bridezilla.
I mean, she's a little crazy, but do yourself a favor. Check out some of the videos on Onijah Robinson. Eventually, she left. They managed to put her on a plane to get her back to the States. But the twist is she didn't complete the journey, and she's apparently currently in Dubai. So this is a sort of reality series that is making itself and unfolding as it happens. And she's got some fantastic lines and memes and what have you. And I think, not to be unkind, but I think she's kind of crazy.
It makes you think that the Anna Delveys, the Scamandas, all these people, that they're the stars of the 21st century.
It's the age of the grift, right?
The age of we got the grifter in chief right now. It is the age of the grifter. Absolutely right. Do we want to make stars out of these people? I mean, is this a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, it's now a performative society, and there's lots of things feeding it because we're all on camera, so we're all performing. Whether it's our Instagram Live. And then unfortunately, you have a president who's performing, and you have Elon Musk who's performing, and then you have crazy people who can perform. It's not about knowing anything. It's not about studying anything. It's just about performing.
And so am I in the wrong when I'm a cranky pants saying that I would rather have talented, fabulous people than a bunch of grifters being famous? Am I behind the times on this?
No, I think, but how do we put the Pandora back in the box, the genie back in the bottle?
You can't. I mean, at one of his press conferences, they just sort of gathered momentum of their own. And at one of these press conferences, a lovely Indian gentleman with a long white beard and green robes was sort of escorting her. And he was trying to calm the crowd down. And she just turned to him and yelled at him and said, "You talk too much. No one can understand what you're saying." But of course, the crowd can understand what he's saying because he's in Pakistan talking Pakistani. So the whole thing's a little off, but it is extraordinary. And it will be a Netflix series too. All right, then let's take a break. And Tom, I believe you have the question.
I do. I'm trying to take walk a mile in Blake's shoes. The number one song for many, many, many weeks has been APT by Rosé and Bruno Mars. Do you know what APT stands for?
We'll have the answer right after the break here on the Wow Report on Radio Andy.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Welcome back to the Wow Report. Fenton here with Tom and James and Justin. But Tom had the question.
The number one song for many, many, many weeks has been APT by Rosé and Bruno Mars. Do you know what APT stands for? Apatapati, apatapati, apatapati.
I think the P has to stand, APT, the P has to stand for pussy. It's something rude, isn't it?
So I'm going to build on Fenton there and say it's called, it's Opera Pussy Time.
It's a drinking game. It's a Korean drinking game where everyone goes, APT.
A Korean drinking game? Are you drinking right now?
Maybe. And then someone yells out a number, 7. They say, and then everyone at the table puts in their hand 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then whoever has the 7th hand drinks.
Oh,
My Pilates instructor thought that the lyric was "I popped out my tit, I popped out my tit."
Oh,
He thought it was a Janet Jackson moment.
all right. Appetizer T 4, because I'm playing the game.
Number 4.
A major event happened in my family, my close family. My 98-year-old Aunt Hazel passed away this past week. And I'm going to be going to her memorial service at Newton Barton Funeral Parlor in Newport, New Hampshire, where she was born in 1926 in Newport.
Good God in heaven.
She had the most remarkable life. She had this life spirit, as I guess people that live. She was kind of vital to the very end. She had a couple years in a home where, but when you go to visit her, she was there. She was present, whether she could talk that day or not. She would be laughing. My cousin, she had 2 daughters, April and Candy. Candy had spent the last day with her and she had pneumonia. And she said she got her to laugh. She was like laughing and smiling up to the very end, even though she was tired and in pain. But it's like her life force. It made me question, like, when should Aunt Hazel go? It's not our choice, but she just had a life force that was almost impossible to extinguish. And my dad's family, her parents were Harold and Ruth, my grandparents. Her siblings were Arnold, Harold, and Marjorie and Hazel. I just love all those names.
Yeah.
And Hazel was married to Uncle Bob, who is this outdoors, like, do-it guy, like hunted fish, like lived off the land. He's the one who had the bomb shelter. And when we asked him at Thanksgiving one time in the 60s or 70s, like, Uncle Bob, what if we came to your bomb shelter? He goes, well, I have to shoot you and kill you. Because it's like, it's like he's in the survival game. It's very straightforward. But Aunt Hazel, she got like her first hole-in-one. She's always active. Got her first hole-in-one when she was 72 years old. When my sister, who's a little bit older than me, whenever, she saw my Aunt Hazel a lot more, she'd be like, oh, Aunt Hazel, I'm turning 60. And my Aunt Hazel would say, without any irony, she's like, oh my gosh, I loved my 60s and I love my 70s. I got so much done. As we all like want to complain, she loved life and every minute of it. She and Uncle Bobby, I think in their 50s, when Uncle Bob retired in his 60s, she retired in her 50s, and they went across the country several times on a motorcycle together. So they just, and she was also, this is gonna make me cry, but I haven't got one in a while because she was very sick, but getting the birthday card from Aunt Hazel that would land in your box every day, wherever you were on your birthday, handwritten with her scrawl, just explaining her day. She and my Aunt Margie were both like that, her predecessor. And I always say Aunt Hazel and Aunt Margie invented social media, because before they would take pictures, regular camera pictures with film, they get double exposures, and they would take an extra picture of you or whoever it was. And they had stickers that would be like memes. That would be like, bald is beautiful. And it'd be a picture of me or whatever. and they always punctuated their sentences with smiley, they tell a joke and then put a smiley face. It was uncanny. It's like 30, 40 years later, the internet caught up. Listen, she's 98. It's not a surprise, but I decided I had to go back, and I haven't gone back for all my relatives' funerals for whatever reason. I'm a little bit more sensitive to it, and there will never be that grouping of people.
Yeah.
Hazel reached so many people. And the thing about the birthday cards is like you'll never get that again. It's like you find out that hundreds of people got that birthday card from Aunt Hazel, that she would meet you, she'd find out your birthday, she connected with you, and she would write you a card. And I've written in my Facebook or whatever, just like, but she truly is an inspiration on how to grow young as you grow older, and to appreciate people, appreciate things.
And to have been born in 26, to have seen an enormous arc of history.
She was in her 20s when World War II was going on. I mean,
she would talk about how in World War II, she was in high school and she would leave school to work at the mica factory to make like provision cases for the soldiers, because it was before plastics. And so there was mica that would cover the little cans of food. Just little gems like that would constantly, she lived such a life and loved every minute of it. Now she's with Harold and Arnold and Marjorie and Aunt Pearl and Uncle John. And
I used to avoid funerals and things like that too for so many years, because we all went through that period where everyone. But lately I've gone to a number of funerals for my family members and stuff, and I'm starting to get to the age where I enjoy seeing everyone and talking about them and that family community feeling and everybody getting together. And every single time I've lost someone, I found that the memorials and the funerals have just been really wonderful. Memories for me.
Yes, and they attract this group of people that represents.
Yeah, that represent a moment of your life and just,
Well, Tom, safe travels to Aunt Hazel's funeral, and maybe you'll talk more about it when you retire.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. I hope it's a fun one.
I think it will. I have a fun family. I love my cousins. Love my brother and sister.
Number 3, James.
Number 3.
I don't know if you guys watched that bonkers press conference the other day when Elon Musk was in the Oval Office.
It's a classic of our time. It's that videotape. It's
the moment as it unfolded, as it kept going on and on and on and on and on and on, my mouth was on the floor the entire time. Donald was sitting at his desk. Elon was standing there fielding questions. Now, first of all, one of the first things, what in the hell is Elon Musk doing taking questions in the Oval Office? That right there, if you really want to start digging, that's bizarre. That's just weird. And he had brought his child, X, whose full name apparently is X7G5 pi symbol, Batman symbol. I mean, it is just Prince symbol. He's just the kid, and the kid is as entitled and bratty as you imagine any kid of Elon Musk's is going to be. He has the kid, he's using him as a prop. The kid is sitting on his shoulders. He's chatting away. The kid is like blah, 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 while Elon is talking. And then even crazier, the Elon is just saying nonsensical things that just don't add up. Just we can do a whole another post about the things that he was saying, but the kid is standing there at the desk next to Donald Trump, and the kid says, "I want you to shut your mouth," to Donald Trump. And then he says, I swear, and you can see this, he says, "You're not the president and I need you to go away," to Donald Trump. And then he picks his nose. He wipes the booger on Donald's desk.
The resolution desk, not just the resolution
desk. And you can see Donald fuming.
And of course, Donald can't do anything because he doesn't have as much money as he.
Shit. Moneybags Musk is standing there, who owns his ass. And so he has to sit there and put up with this little brat. He hates children. First of all,
can I just add a detail about that, brat? There is also a tape of him, Elon Musk, Tucker Carlson doing an interview, and the little brat says, "Yeah, we're going to go to space where we can do whatever we want." And then they're talking about the election, and the little brat saying, "Yeah, we won. It's all taken care of," or like they'll never find out. It's
30 years from now, and it's Baron Trump and XG7 Batman symbol as presidents.
it is an extraordinary spectacle, and a picture of Trump completely humiliated. I mean, completely powerless. That's the weird. I think it repays. I've played it several times. It's endlessly fascinating.
Old and tired and orange.
And when you think of the danger that Elon Musk posed, when you think of the danger that RFK Jr. proposed, and the scariest one of all, Tulsi Gabbard, who is all of a sudden she is the conduit between Putin and Trump right there every day. I mean, she is the scariest one of all. We have some really and Stephen Miller, of course.
Stephen Miller's in that shot too. In the Oval Office.
Stephen Miller is smirking the whole time.
The whole thing.
Oof.
Should we move on though? Should we move on?
I'm sorry.
Number two. The Contestant on Hulu. And James, you've just been talking about this bonkers scene in the Oval Office. This is insane. The Contestant is a documentary about a competitor on a show called A Life in Prizes. That's the translation. And this show started in January 1988. And this guy went along to an audition. It was a room full of people auditioning. And it was almost by chance that he pulled out some golden ticket, but went straight from the audition room to an apartment where he was secluded on his own, locked in, made to strip, had to take off all his clothes, and would henceforth have to survive only on what he could win from sending in postcards to magazine competitions and phone-in shows. And he was naked. He was naked for weeks because he didn't win any clothes. And he was hungry, really hungry. He had at one point to eat dog food. He got rice, but there was no saucepan. It is an extraordinary, and this was before the Truman Show. This was before Big Brother. This was January 1988. And this show every week became a huge sensation in Japan. Long story short, he's got to win that. He had to win 1 million yen to be set free. And he didn't even know he was on TV. He thought it was part of the audition. And when there were cameras around and they said, don't worry about it, it's never going to be aired. And he never signed a contract. And when he won, they didn't set him free. They moved him to Korea, where they then said, well, and they put him in another apartment and said, you now have to earn an economy flight ticket to get home. And then when he got enough money to get the economy ticket, they said, oh, actually, it's got to be a first class ticket. Eventually, after almost 1,000 days, they took him to third apartment. And he was like, oh my God, I can't go through this anymore. And as he's coming to terms with this, the walls of the apartment collapse, revealing him in a live studio audience because the show is being broadcast live.
Does he have clothes yet?
He has no idea what's going on and he's naked. He talks very movingly about the despair he felt, the embarrassment he felt, how he fundamentally thought it was wrong. I mean, and you're thinking, yeah, right. But there was no, the producer is saying, yes, I thought it was a very good idea. It was a bit evil, wasn't it? So he's naked most of the time. And at first the producers covered his privacy with a black dot. But then they replaced it with an eggplant emoji.
Oh.
And this is where the eggplant emoji as a
ding-donged. That's insane.
And there's even more of a twist because they chose an eggplant, not because of his penis, but because he had a very long face. And as a kid, he was bullied and they called him Nasubi. And Nasubi means eggplant. Well, let's take one last break before we reveal the number one thing this week that made us go, wow.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Welcome back to the Wow Report on Radio Andy. Fenton here with James and Tom and Justin sitting in for Blake. We have been counting down top 10 things that made us go wow, and we've reached number one.
Number one.
I want to talk about the PGA Awards, which I attended Saturday night for 2025, which Drag Race was nominated for. We won in the past. We did not win this year. So this isn't an ad. I just want to talk about it because it's the last of the award shows, and this is award season, where they actually mix reality people with television scripted with movie people. So it's our Golden Globes, and out with Mandy and Steve and Alicia and Mish and a bunch of fabulous World of Wonder people. And the theme, and it's not televised either, which takes the pressure off it, but it's actually one of the funnier award shows because there isn't this need to bloat it up. It's just like they'll do silly things, like they'll have someone come out and speak as from the Film Commission of New Hampshire, and it's a total fake, but you don't know it. Or they'll, again, all interspersed with real awards, but then all of a sudden it'll be like, this year's winner of the NYU Up and Coming Star Award, and they had this young woman come up and she was like, oh my God, I'm so nervous, and then she ends up singing and it's a sketch and it's a fake out. So that was fun. But overall, and I'm going to come to some winners that we can talk about, but the theme, of course, is rebuilding LA and keeping production in LA, which Drag Race USA is out there. But I got to tell you, what makes for a good award show? The gay people, because presenting were Alan Cumming, who was hilarious, did a thing about are you a producer or not. Billy Eichner was there. Jodie Foster presented. Fortune Feimster, hilarious. Coleman Domingo was there. And they're not exactly gay, but they're gay to me. Ariana Grande and Jeff Goldblum were there, and charming as ever. Jeff was in front of we were just like the motley crew of producers in the back of the line, and he was in front of us for the red carpet, which the red carpet was not that interested in taking our pictures. Took one, and we're like, okay, keep moving. But Jeff had been on Drag Race. And we're like, I said, Mr. And I never do this, but I'm like, Mr. Goldblum, I hate to interrupt you. And I did. And he's with his lovely wife. And I just said, the producer team of RuPaul's Drag Race behind you. We're behind you. And he's like, so he's just so charming. You're
Jeff Goldblum, just with that one thing, you got him.
Are you nominated? I said, we are, but we're not, predicted to win. He goes, well, I'm team RuPaul's Drag Race. And then we get on the red carpet and they we're like 12 of us or something. So we moved over into Jeff Goldblum's shot, and all the camera people were like, move over, you're in a shot, move out of Jeff Goldblum's part. And he did a callback to his time when he did the presidential debate a few years ago, where Heidi in Closet, or maybe no, it was Angeria, did Look Over There. And so he's like, look over there. Look over there. He was doing a callback to the show. She wanted something. Jane Fonda and Kate Hudson were there. Jane Fonda, she's getting a little wacky in the best way. Like, she was just, because they were giving Lifetime Achievement Awards posthumously to Paula Weinstein and Linda Obst, who were like pioneer women. It was the theme was kind of like when women had to scream to be heard, but they're still able to hold on to their femininity and their all that kind of stuff. But okay, here, because all these awards, including the PGAs, which are less known, sort of give us a taste of what might happen at the Oscars. Wow. And the winner of Best Movie, James, was Anora, the best movie I've ever seen ever, which beat Wicked, which I don't like. But if anyone had to beat Wicked,
you don't
Anora.
like Wicked?
If I love Wicked, I want Wicked to win. And if Wicked doesn't win, Anora is an okay backup.
Right.
But Hacks won for Best Comedy.
You're Team Brutalist still, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
All right. Comedy is Hacks, which we love, and it's things we've talked about in the past.
Right.
The award for outstanding producer of a television or stream motion picture, some of them were scripted, but The Greatest Night in Pop, that show about the We Are the World taping one,
loved it.
which I love beyond belief. Yeah. Also, the award outstanding producer of a nonfiction television went to Steve Martin, a documentary in 2 pieces, which we've talked about.
We talked about on the show. Sure.
Yes.
Now, did they have Best Actor, Best Actress?
No, because it's producing.
Okay.
And so, and then,
but they have Best Ensemble, don't they?
Not for acting. It's producing. So the award for outstanding producer of a live entertainment variety sketch stand-up talk television, which is quite a wide category, went to Saturday Night Live, as well it should. And we talk about Saturday Night Live all the time on the show. And last but not least, I told you we didn't win. Traders did, but
what one category we were in?
Traders.
Oh, right. Another Alan Cumming.
Yes, Alan Cumming.
And, it feels like it's Alan's time. You can't be angry. You can't be upset about it.
It's okay. It's all right.
It can happen to a nicer person. Exactly.
Exactly. Like,
If you're going to lose to someone, you want to lose to Alan.
Exactly.
It's true.
Exactly.
It's very true.
Yeah. Exactly. So that was that's the non-televised. Therefore, I'm giving you the scoop from the PGAs, which are fun. And I don't do this, but it really is like a selfie time. Like every producer's like, hey, it's like the first time we get to be with the big stars, and everyone seems to, everyone's in award mode. So it's a fun night. Glad I got to go.
Thank you for that report, that update, and we are out of time. We have counted down the top 10 things of the week that made us go, wow. Tom, thank you. Thank you, James. Thank you, Justin. Blake, we miss you.
Yes, we do.
And I wanted to say for our viewers on YouTube right now, Tom is sporting a new pair of glasses that are very fetching, very handsome.
Very. LAI works, I guess.
No, it's from a Palm Springs shop. I'll come back with the names and things later. I forgot, but I got them when I was in Palm Springs.
Very nice.
There's a theme here. There's 4 white, bald men.
With glasses.
Same time, same place next week. Until then, go out and do something that makes the world go
Wow.